This is video 2, and we're going to look at the heel cycle, the leg cycle, in particular on this one. First one, we'll look to overstride, if you've seen that, or you might not be doing it in order, which is absolutely fine. Okay, so first of all, let's review how you look after. Your running technique looks effortless after. You can, like I mentioned before, decrease contact with the ground, maintaining that energy efficiency superbly well. Whereas before, we can see that running looked a lot more effort compared to what you are now. So if we look at leg cycle, first thing we're going to look at, and again we'll zoom it in and we'll slow you down on here. So if we just take that back to this position, and we're looking at where the heel was. So before we had our left foot there was below the knee crease. So your foot is staying low to the ground through that swing phase, then it is landing ahead of yourself, which is affecting that overstride. If we look, and it's going to come through as a longer lever straight away. So then we have the right. So if we look at the right, when it gets in contact, we've got that flirting with the knee crease. So your right was higher up, all right, but still beneath where we wanted it to be. So before, you were very much running using your anterior muscles. If we look now, we can't see any contraction of the hamstrings as you're moving. So if I pause it there, there's not really any contraction there. It's all coming through the hip flexors and the quads. If we look at after, and slow down, okay, so we look at that left one to begin with. So as soon as that makes contact, which is there, we can see that we've got it up to the upper part of the hamstring, which is absolutely fantastic. Another point to highlight from this is just your brilliant mechanics in terms of how you're landing. Nice and upright in there, and the right foot is landing right underneath your center of gravity, your hip, which is absolutely fantastic to see. So if we then take it to the right foot, and we can see again that the right foot is up to top half of the hamstring. It's pretty much the same point. And again, look at your landing mechanics. We've got the line going through here, and you're landing a couple of inches, as I mentioned in video 1. Your center of gravity. So that is really balanced, and that's an improvement in your proprioception, your sense of positioning and movement, and your balance as well. So what you're coming through now, as you can see, is you've got a short lever, and now you are utilizing your hamstrings and glutes due to the activation. You can see the tension on the hamstrings there, where it's contracted, and by using a short lever, you're in contact with the ground less, and you are also reducing the overstride. So what you're also getting from there is no braking forces in that running stride. You're spending less time on the ground. So basically you have, in effect, with your efficient technique, a lot of flight time and using your posterior chain muscles, the glutes and the hamstrings, which you've worked on and activated brilliantly. If we just look at this before as well, just need to trap your foot here. Okay, is look at the shape and the difference, where you see before you were very low to the ground with your cycle. It was a rugby ball shape, so the foot will not go above that line. It's got your heel poking out the top there, so just bring that. So it won't break above that line there, and the same. So it's staying very low to the ground, which means as soon as it gets to toe off, so toe off is this position here, it's only going to go a short distance and then it's in contact with the ground again, which means it's going to be very hard to maintain speed, and there's extra stress on those tight hip flexors and quads. Let's have a look at after them. So if we take you after, we can see now that from that rugby ball shape, we are now utilizing a nice big circle. So we're doing the coaching points whereby you're drawing and you're following the line of the circle right to the top there of that right, and then dropping underneath your center of gravity. And again, so if we play that through, it's a nice big circle. So when we talked about leading with the heel, that's exactly what you're doing, and you're following that circle beautifully around. You can just see it there, finishing with a nice high leg cycle. Also, I want to highlight your foot position. Your foot position afterwards is absolutely fantastic as well, whereby you're keeping those toes to the ground, which tells me, and I see that you're leading with those heels. So you're drawing that big circle as if it's a pencil there. So that's a really good transformation. If we look at your arms give you rhythm, balance, control, and speed. If we mentioned before, let's have a look at it before. We can see here we got that twist in the back. We got that hand wanting to go over to this side here. If we come back through the other way, we've got the palm of the hand facing the chest and upper torso there. All right, and it's coming across that body. So it's just leading to a twist in your arms. You've got as I mentioned on the 4th of November, you've got your arms at an angle, but they're not doing anything. There's no movement from the shoulder. If we look afterwards, you can see that we've got that rhythm, balance, and control, and that backward movement of that elbow is propelling you forward. So that is really coming back, and we'll watch it again. So you've got the pendulum, and you've got that right arm again leading back, and you've got your arm in a nice angle. And just note the palms as well. Palms are facing towards the screen, and they're next to your ribs. So you've got that forward, backwards, driving with the elbow. You're going hip, and you're coming up to shoulder. I would say on your left-hand side, it's just slightly lower than shoulder, but it's not in a bad place. You just want to maybe bring it up a fraction, and then your right side is come up a little bit higher in that point. So you've got it upper reaches of that shoulder point, and you can see from your movement that there is no twisting of the torso. Your upper body is staying in a nice straight line through there, so there's no rotation of the shoulders, and it's all being driven by your shoulder joint, your deltoid. So fantastic development on that. And that has also led to the fact that you've got your legs cycling up. I'll go into a little bit more detail and just explain a little bit more on the arms when we go into the video from the back. And also your angle, you've held that angle nicely. There's no opening up of the elbow, and you're holding that nice 60-degree angle when you get to the top of that position. And that's a really good position to be in terms of where your arm is. Just want you to still try and work on relaxing those shoulders, but again, once again, Jasmine, a fantastic piece of work on that upper body. I will do another video which will focus on from the back.